morning, folks. Thank you very much for being here. This is the Climafix Summit 2023 Insight Series. My pleasure to invite all four of you to the waste management panel discussion. So what we have been doing, to quickly give an introduction, is as part of the Climafix Summit series, Insight series, we have been having online panel discussions on 8 decarbonization verticals. Waste management is one of them. There are other verticals such as renewable energy, energy efficiency, energy storage, etc. The idea is to get experts, share their opinion in 2 sessions for each of these verticals, so which means we'll be having one more session for waste management as well. The idea is to use the first session to be an introductory session where we set the context for the theme, provide introductions, and use these inputs as the feed for the next session, which can be a bit more detailed, where we try to look at specific solutions. The first session is more a context setting session where we both provide the trends and the challenges, and the second session is more a solution finding session. Does it make sense? All right, thank you once again. I'm going to quickly give an introduction from my side to each of you, and the structure is as follows. We have about 45 minutes. The first stage can be where each of you can introduce yourself. I would like you to be a bit less modest and give a good introduction about each of yourself, because many of you bring a lot of expertise and background to the picture, and I would really like the audience of these videos, which will be seen for next few years, to know a lot more about each of you. So a bit about your backgrounds and briefly what your company does in the context of waste management. That's the first part. And the last 20 minutes or so, we will set the context predominantly and what are the key challenges we need to overcome if we have to take waste management to a much higher sustainability level. So the theme for the overall panel discussion today is how do we chart more sustainable pathways for waste management. Let's kick it off. So we have Vardarajan from Lancetech, we have Nagendran from Srinivasa Waste Management, Divakar from Acclaim, and Vachana Shetty from Akshay Kalpa. Of the 4, Vachana is actually from a producer side. So they are a producer, but in addition to being a producer, they also are following some waste management practices, both at the farm as well as with their packaging. More about that from Vachana. So I'm going to start off with Vardarajan. Why don't we kick off, Vardarajan, a bit about you and a bit about Lancetech. You are muted, Vardarajan.
Thank you. Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, good. Thanks. First of all, good morning to everybody, and thanks to you, Climafix, for having me here. My name is Vardarajan. I am been in the industry for the last 45 years. I started my career in Zuari Agrochemicals as a chemical engineer. Then I joined Madras Refineries, the current Chennai Petroleum, in about 1980 and worked there for 16 years. Then on, I moved to a company called Universal Oil Products, which is predominantly in the licensing of refinery processes and products. And I have been with them for the last 30 years. And we have established in India an office in India as a part of the UOP efforts. And right now, this UOP is owned by Honeywell, and Honeywell owns UOP. I retired from active service 2 years ago, and then I got interested in working on the green side of things, because I've been one of the key role in getting the hydrocarbons out to various users like refineries and technologies associated with the hydrocarbons. So I thought I would spend some time on the greener side of things. So I was looking for some assignments to keep myself busy. I came across this company called Lancetech about 2 years ago. Predominantly, it's a very interesting company, the Lancetech. Lancetech was conceived in 2005 by Dr. Simpson, who was in New Zealand. Actually, he was traveling he was a microbiologist by profession. So he was traveling and he saw a steel mill emitting a lot of black smoke. And he was wondering how he can put his knowledge and ideas into converting this waste into a useful product. And then he started working on the microbes for suitable conversion of these waste gases. So it was found in New Zealand, as I said. Then the current CEO, Dr. Jennifer, who is also working on the renewable side from UOP, thought that this is a very interesting concept and joined hands with him. And then they promoted this company, LanzaTech. This LanzaTech has been in the forefront of inventing new things, of converting waste to various products. And first of it was on ethanol. So the first projects and all the commercial plants are from waste to ethanol, but they don't want to stop there. They want to get into other chemicals. They want to directly make some chemicals. And in this regard, they have set up biofoundry, and their research and development facilities at Skokie, Illinois, United States is fully equipped, and they have synthesized many chemicals from waste using these microbes. So once we move further, we can talk about those chemicals and the process. Basically, it is a gas fermentation. Your fermentation is not new to the industry. Fermentation has been widely applied, used in many applications, but this is more or less, we can say, first of its kind, because it's gas fermentation. Most of the times you do ferment some solid materials or even a liquid in this, but here we are trying to ferment a gas stream, and that too a waste gas stream. So what is required is to purify the waste streams in such a way for the microbes to do the fermentation process. Otherwise, fermentation by itself is not very new, but this unique application of gas fermentation has been the forefront in this process. And also, this company is mainly focusing on the research side of it, and they have about nearly 1,500 to 2,000 patents around this in the short time. So the main core strength of this company is inventing new technologies, and also and commercializing these technologies. It's not just to make the synthesis in the lab or in a pilot plant scale. We want to take the strength is to take it to the industry, and that's where there are team of engineers, team of microbiologists, engineers, scientists, and other research people, and construction and operation engineers. So they have they have set up this organization as just not as a licensing company, but as a company which will take to the final products and commercialized technologies. In this regard, they have commercialized about 4 plants are now on fully operations, and 2 more of the plants are in the very early stage of commissioning or in the process of the commissioning. So with that, we will be having about 6 commercial plants for various waste gas applications. So the good thing about it is, in India, we are going to have 1 gas fermentation plant, that too from a refinery of gas. Normally refineries do make a lot of off gases, and we have picked up a stream whereby we can convert one of the waste streams in the refinery applications to the ethanol, and that project is in the advanced stage of completion. And it's coming advanced stage of commissioning also. It has started producing ethanol, and that is a main area. And also the beauty of this company, they are not very American centered. They have spread themselves. If you see the commercial operations, they are mostly in China, Europe, and in India and in Japan. And so they want to adapt to the local regions challenges and culture and the working environment and convert this waste into valuable products. And as I said, ethanol is the main key product today, but we are not going to stop this. We are going to get into the chemicals. The immediate focus of attention or where we are putting our engineering design is to convert these waste gases to IPA, that is isopropyl alcohol and acetone. These are the two key chemicals apart from ethanol. And then also we have got a battery of various products identified, and these microbes are all developed. Now it is the challenge for the engineers and the commercialization people to commercialize these chemicals along with this ethanol. This is in brief about this company. And what I do in this company is, as I said, I come from a licensing background, and I've been working with a licensing company last 30 years, which is also predominantly a technology company. So I help them to license their technology to various users. And that is predominantly my job here in Lancetech.
Thank you, Varadarajan. That was very nice, detailed presentation about what you guys do. That's useful because I think even though you took us through a good amount of detail, I think it will be extremely useful to both the participants here and people who are going to watch this video, because what you guys do is fairly unique. So I'm glad that you took us through that. Nagendran, a brief introduction about both you and Srinivasa Waste Management. The process that you guys are doing is probably well known, but the technology may be well known, but a bit about what you guys do in Chennai and some of the brief successes you had, I think that will be useful to the users. Go ahead, Nagendran.
Thank you. Very good morning to all. Thanks for having me here, sir, and team. And quick intro about myself. Nagendran, currently based at Chennai. My background is BSc Physics and Instrumentation from Anna University. Slightly joined Infosys for 18 years and then moved out to start some other startups in the IT. My experience with waste management just for last 4-5 years, I joined hands with my friend Sankaranarayanan. When we talk about the company, we'll talk about him. And that's how I got into waste management. And we want to bring in more transparency and openness in the waste management sector. And then a couple of years back, I also joined along with them in the waste to energy projects. So right now, I see myself as advocating towards waste management, environment, to an extent energy, also renewable energy. That's why I see myself connected. Now about our company, Srinivas Waste Management Services Private Limited. We are 20+ years old company. We started off in Chennai. We started off as normal waste collection, transportation, and of course dumping at the landfill. That was at the beginning of our company inception. And we have handled 5 corporations and multiple municipalities in Tamil Nadu. We are about 3,000 to 4,000 employees at any point in time. That was 10th. Currently, we do take care of Tirupur Corporation and a couple of municipalities. But what happened in 2016 onwards, when the Swachh Bharat mission was pushed up and everybody is aware of waste management and their responsibilities, we also took up a step. Okay, we have been so far doing waste collection, transportation, and dumping. We had to look up ourselves to add more value to the system. That's how we got into waste to energy projects. Well, before we talk about waste to energy, central government has have been pushing all across with their SWM, Solid Waste Management 2016 rules, that everybody has responsibilities to manage their own waste in a better way and more responsible way. And so they started off addressing first the old legacy waste, which are in the dump field for so many decades. So they are called biomining projects. Our company, Srinivas Waste Management, took almost 10 projects in Tamil Nadu. At least we handed over, even we handled and cleaned the Pallikaranai area. And we handled at least another 4 to 5 sites have been completed. Some of them are still in progress. hope to complete in this year itself. And those biomining projects are very critical for us to address long-term issues caused by the dump sites. Land, air, water, everything has been spoiled. So these lands will be reclaimed and given back to the corporation or municipality, which they will be using it for public usage like building parks or metro or even bio-CNG plant. That's one of the key activities that we do through biomining. We also participated in micro composting centers. If you know of Chennai, Chennai has 180 plus wards, and each of the wards have their own composting center by the municipal corporation, by the Chennai corporation. And we have taken a couple of them, and we get the vegetable waste and convert them to manure and given back to GCC, Chennai Corporation. So we are into the entire spectrum of MSW, collection, transportation, processing to compost, and finally processing to the energy side. And the significant project we talk about our company, which is the crown jewel of our company at this point in time, is organic MSW, municipal solid waste to bio-CNG creation. This is a very critical, very important project. This is the first project in South India of this magnitude, has been formed and conceptualized in 2018-19 period. Then we were looking at to build some plant like this to address organic municipal solid waste. That time the commissioner in GCC said that it is a very critical project. Where do we start? With the support of GCC under PPP model, public-private partnership model, whereas the corporation has given us the land. We are at the right center of the city in the Egmore. We have been given 3 acres of the land, wherein which we have built the entire setup. And we probably spent about at this point around 26 crores to build this huge facility, where we collect 100 metric tons of organic MSW with the support of Greater Chennai Corporation across the city, and then bring them to our facility. So here also I want to add one more thing. As you know, the waste management was predominantly handled by the government earlier, then slowly semi-privatized. Then we are into the almost totally privatized mode, close to that right now. In Chennai, if you look at it, you know, there are 15 zones. More than 6 zones are being handled by Urbaser Smith, and then another 6 zones were handled by Romkey. And what happens to the bulk waste generator? There's a concept called bulk waste generator enforced by MSW SWM 2016. Whoever generates more than 100 kg of waste, all waste put together, are called bulk waste generator. Those generators, for example, canteens or restaurants, 5-star hotels, and supermarket, vegetable markets, they have to find a way to manage their waste in a better way. Corporation will not take them under their umbrella. They have to put their own composting system, or they have to find M-panel member or whoever eligible as well as credible people who can handle the waste instead of just dumping. So Corporation Chennai was the first one initiate this in the movement across India to push it really hard onto the people that whoever is a bulk waste generator have to handle this. So we have taken agri system. Our company Srinivas Waste Management taken agri system. We collect our own waste. So we are tied up with the Chennai Hotel Association. We collect almost from 350 plus hotels in Chennai every day, and probably another 10,000 plus apartment units we are handling, and multiple canteens also we are handling. More than 500 clients we handle every day here. And so we collect all the waste through our system called a big bin by our own vehicles and bring them to the our plant. Now, important thing, we all know that it's easy to say the waste source segregation has to be done, enforced. We all know that how hard it is. Though it looks very simple, that is the toughest part of any waste management. We all agree on that. And since we don't do that job, we can see the pain at our hand to handle them, right? All of us go through that. So we do, we collect all of them, bring them to our plant, do one fine segregation, put up entire scientific process, generate raw biogas, and then process and purify them into methane-rich CNG, or actually it's called compressed biogas, CBG. And it has been 2 years since we are operating successfully. That point in time, CNG awareness in Chennai was slightly less, definitely. So we have been supplying our gas to local restaurants. Whoever has been able to consume at least 100 kg of gas. So as an alternative to LPG, we are supplying biogas. And in Chennai, if you look at Amaravati, Saravana Bhavan, Kalapakati, or Achi, any big brands will use that. Our gas right now. We are in a way, we are helping to create a circular environment, circular economy. We are collecting waste from those hotels, convert them into bio-CNG, and give them back. Both ways we earn, of course, and both ways they are also getting benefited. It's a mutually supporting system, right? And apart from supplying to restaurants, we also supply to GAIL and Gas Authorities of India. And they are supplying in terms to our city gas distributor. In Chennai, Taran Gas is the city gas distributor. They are taking the bio-CNG produced to their automobile supplies. This is a quick nutshell about bio-CNG. So this project, as well as, like I said, the crown jewel of our company. And since being this is the first company in South India, we have a lot of attentions and a lot of learnings on the ground. And we are right now looking forward to expand this particular space because the ecosystem is being developed. And we are happy here, and we are trying to change the mentality or the mindset of the people also by, creating that waste, environment, energy focus. That's where it is, sir.
Thank you, Navendran. Thank you. I mean, originally the introductions sessions are brief. That's the way we are running it. But today I see that both Vardarajan and Navendran, you guys actually took us through a detailed presentation of what you guys do, which I think is fine as well. I mean, as I said, we have another session. The session can, each of you, be it Divakar and Vachana, you guys can also spend some time because I think waste is a complicated area. So I'm fine with each of you guys taking 5-6 minutes. Usually the introduction sessions are much shorter. So Divakar, maybe you can take 4-5 minutes going through what you have done before, what you are doing right now, and then we can go on to Vachana. Go ahead, Divakar.
Okay, thank you, Narasimhan. Welcome, friends. Now, we have been, Acclaim Technology Services is my company, and I'm the vice president there. And we have been working since 1984 on renewable energy. We started with the biomass, where we converted shell to power. Now, those things at that point of time, these were all available for free. As we went across, the cost of biomass was not justified. So we had to shelve this project because of viability factors. Now, Narasimhan spoke about the challenges. So now what we are now focusing purely on shell to shell charcoal and activated carbon is one vertical, and the other vertical is the compressed biogas. We have patented some technologies in shell to activated carbon. So what is happening is that the energy is available for us for free. So if we can tie up with any company that can work 24/7 on energy, then this becomes a very profitable situation where if they are to replace, let us say, LPG or diesel, the ROI is less than 1 year. It's when I say it may look weird, but then that is the thing. We can work on that. We can even invest on that and give you the delivery because the raw material is hedged. So whatever is the raw material cost, we get it back from the byproduct, and the energy is available free. So when we make money on that, this is what the cost comes to. Now, compressed biogas, 40 million ton is our requirement that we have today. And if you look at the Satat's website, we have 48 plants working, and the total production is in terms of compressed biogas is 2,804. So that means we have only developed 58 tons per plant. So this is the reality. Now, where is the hitch? Now, there are 2-3 things that has to be kept. Everybody talks about Napier grass and how to go about it, the waste management. Now, if you take Mr. Nagendran himself, there is a cost to collection. So what government has to do in the challenges, this is one of the challenges. What government has to do is they have to budget the money for collection of these things because that is a big cost. And that is where the viability is getting affected. Whereas next door to Mr. Nagendran, you have a waste management plan where government brings the waste and gives to them and also pays them 600 rupees. So now look at the different scenarios where political influence can give you money.
Yeah. If you may just interrupt for a moment, I think these challenges are valid. Why don't we go to Vachana? She can also introduce herself quickly, and then we'll come to the challenges part. Is there anything else you'd like to tell about your background?
Let me complete this. So
yeah,
the CBG challenge.
The challenges later, so that people can get to know your background and what you do. Go ahead.
Okay, so this 48 plants at 2,804 as per Satat website. we are only creating 58 tons per plant. So where is the viability coming? So the challenge is, if you look, I have been working for 8 months here to get the conversion of agricultural land, a part of the agricultural land into industrial conversion. So the procedure for that, if I look at it, there are about 28 items to be done. Nobody helps us in this. Then we go for the MNRE clearances. There is another set of 22 papers which I have to submit. So this is one thing. TEDA is the agency which has to do that, but TEDA is ignorant of everything. We have to feed them with the information, ask them for support. But then instead of going through them, it is easier for us to go directly, because we have to teach them also to do these things. So my challenges today is compressed biogas, and then compressing it at 200 bar is another challenge. And gas separation for cleanliness. The carbon dioxide that comes out of it, nobody has thought about it. We are trying to use that also as dry ice. So, and algal growing are all part of the system. We are now trying to create this with a 42 crore project, which is going to deliver around 12 tons per day of compressed biogas. Why 12 tons per day is because that is the best sector in the MNRE bracket, where we will get the maximum of 10 crore subsidy. So this is purely subsidy driven, but then we have to work out on the economics of that, which we have already done our homework. So we want this to be a model plan to replicate it, and that is why the funding is also from the company side only. We are not dependent on anybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Debakar. You know, you're a very sweet guy. You have bundled both your introduction and challenges together, all in 4 to 5 minutes. So you must be any panel discussion moderator's darling. Okay, Vachana, why don't you go ahead, introduce yourself quickly.
Yes, so Akshakalpa Organic has been in the space of organic dairy now for over 13 years. We basically, the model in which we operate is we set up a model farm. The first one was set up in this place called Tiptur in Karnataka. The second one has been set up in Puriyambakam, close to Chennai. So it's a 24-acre model farm, and this is where any farmer who wants to become an organic farmer learns how to do everything in a self-sustaining manner. How he can grow his produce, take care of his cows in a way that his farm supports it completely. He doesn't need any external inputs, right? So that is what we demonstrate in the model farm. So the farmer comes over there and he sees everything and he learns and he goes and implements it in his farm, which can be anywhere between 3 to 5 acres. So, so first step for us is in terms of, not generating any waste, is to make sure that the farmer himself becomes self-sustaining, right? He doesn't have to buy anything from outside. There's no external input whatsoever. So he's able to grow everything that he requires and consume everything that he produces, except for milk, which gets transferred to Akshakalpa. At the Akshakalpa farm, we have a very closed loop system. All the the composting happens at the farm. We have a kitchen which serves over 800 to 1,000 people every day. All the food, the ingredients that are required for this kitchen are grown within the Akshakalpa farm. We produce Jivamrita and many different kinds of fertilizers that are produced or in a very, very organic manner at our farm. The cows are taken fully, they're taken care of, and everything that the cow eats is grown at the Akshakalpa farm. So again, there is no external input whatsoever. And so there is a farm to it, and then there is a plant to it. Plant is where everything, all the milk and the milk products that get that get produced and packed and get sent. That is what happens at the plant. At the plant, we have a very solid ETP system. So any waste that gets generated. So first of all, we try to reduce the waste itself too. For example, we produce a lot of paneer. Our customers love the paneer that we produce, right? We produce a lot of cheese as well. So from these two products, there's a byproduct, which is the whey, which is the water that gets left over, right? We don't want to. So for some time we were putting this water into the ETP, right? But we started to innovate and started to figure out if there's any other way to consume this whey, because it is still nutritious in nature. So why should we throw it away, right? So now we have launched a new drink, which is a fresh mango drink, which just has two ingredients, which is mango and this whey water. no sugar added, no nothing added. It just has a 2-day shelf life, and our customers are loving it because it is sweet by nature and it is good for health, and it has absolutely no other additives, stabilizers or emulsifiers or sweetening agents or natural flavoring agents or preservatives. None of these things have been added. So it behaves very similar to milk in terms of how sensitive it is. But those are some of the steps that we take to see how we can manage the byproducts which otherwise would be thought of as waste. But how can we treat that differently? How can we convert it and make sure that we use it, right? So these are some of the things that are happening at the plant level and the farm level. On the consumer side, so for the longest time we were doing all of this at the back end, right? But we were guilty of still being someone who is producing plastic, and we don't know what is happening to that plastic that is getting produced. So last year, in April 21st, which is World Earth Day, we launched an initiative called Let's Give Back the Milk Pack. So we started taking the milk packets back from our customers from their doorstep. So the way it works is we have a direct delivery model. So if you are a Akshakalpa customer, you'll have a bag, Akshakalpa bag hanging on your gate, and the delivery boy in the morning will come to drop off the milk in that bag. So the customer takes that packet, cuts it open without snipping the corner. And Mr. Nagendran would agree as to why that is important, that they don't do that. So they don't snip the corner. They just cut it straight. They empty the milk, put it in a vessel, clean this packet, which is wash it with water, rinse it and dry it and put it back in the same bag. And we take it back from source, completely segregated, and we recycle it, right? So far, last April to now, we have recycled over 15,000 kg of plastic that our customers have given back to us. About 25% of Akshakalpa customer base is recycling. What we also believe is that, while this may seem like a small thing, what happens to customers also, over a period of time is you start looking at plastic very differently. Now when I'm about to throw something into the, like let's say we've ordered something, some food, some takeaway food that has come home, instead of just throwing the container as I'm just rinsing it, drying it, and then putting it in the dustbin, which really helps the people who are managing the waste, right? The cleaner the container, the better the recycling value. So those are some of the things that our customers also over a period of time subconsciously learn how to do. So that is what we are doing on the consumer side.
If you can spend a minute, Vachana, on your background as well.
So yeah, I've been in marketing through and through. I have worked in Himalaya for about 4.5 years, where I worked in brand innovation, which was about launching, coming up with new products and launching the new products and thinking of a go-to market for it. I've also done a little bit of brand consulting and worked in advertising also for 3 years with Densu McGarry Bhavan. Yeah, so that's some of the things that I've done.
Yeah, so Vachana belongs to one of them who got converted into this faith sometime back. Many of you guys, Nagendran and Divakar, you guys have been slogging at it for quite some time. So Vachana is a relatively new convert, but I know her for quite some time now, almost a year. She is a very fervent convert. So good to have all of you once again. We have about, let's say, max about 20 minutes. As I said, this is only the first of the 2 sessions, not really in any major hurry. You see, we have 4 people here with actually pretty different backgrounds if you look at it. Vadrajan, as he said, including his long stint in the chemical industries and maybe technology industries, what he is leading right now for business development is a firm with very unique pathways to convert different types of waste, including gaseous waste, which, as he said, very few companies in the world do, to something of use. Nagendran, well, what interests me there is these guys are one of the few, and that's what Shankar also said, Nagendran, when I met him some time back. The key asset he brings to the table is the fact that he has been handling waste for decades, right? And it's a very challenging thing to do. And he said, Narsi, the learning curve is very long out there. So that's going to help us. And that's a very different background that they bring in, especially municipal solid waste. Divakar has been very strong on the bio-based. So which is why, if you sit with him, he can give you stories for days together on what he has done. very strong on the bio-based value. So he doesn't also look at anything as waste, as Vachana was saying, byproducts, by streams. I think there are ways you can think about, and that's why I was very interested when he said, look, we are taking coconut shell, we are making activated carbon, and then we are getting energy. What do we do with it? Yeah, I mean, if there can be an off-taker, that's actually a bonus. If you really look at it, many times people use biomass to produce energy and look at activated carbon as a byproduct. Many times it's just 5% of the total. Whereas these guys are doing the other way around, because biomass actually has a lot more value than being a fuel. Right. So I think he has been doing a lot of work in that. And Vachanai comes from the other side, producer side, and it's very interesting how she looked at waste. I didn't know about the way part of it. Vachana, you told me about the other two. I had visited the farm myself a couple of times. I request each of you guys to go there as well. I think Nagendran, you said you may want to visit it sometime too. Yeah.
Absolutely. Now
And
I
I
have more
also request
reason
you guys to visit Nagendran's facility. It's bang in the middle of Chennai. So be it Divakar, Vardarajan, I mean, you can't visit because it's in the center of the city. Sometime maybe you can visit it. They have a very nice facility. All right, so that's where we are. 4 different people. Even though all of us are working on waste, all of you guys are working on waste in different ways. I think we have maybe time for my asking a general question, each of you answering in your own way. The theme was really, how do we chart more sustainable pathways? The fact is, in spite of all these brains working on these with so much expertise, I think we are converting a very small percentage of whatever waste it is to value. Be it municipal solid waste, be it agricultural residues, be it gaseous waste and industrial wastewater, or at various farms and the plastic waste that Vachana was talking about. I think these are all very, very small percentages. I can trot out numbers, but whatever the best of my estimates will still look very bad. Yeah. I think the question to you guys is this, anybody can take it up. We have about 15 minutes. What do you think are the 1 or 2 key challenges that prevents each of your organizations to take your waste management solution to the next level? Be it a producer like Vachana, or be it a solution provider like Varadarajan. What are those 1 or 2 key things? So Divakar already mentioned something, but policies, yes, that's always a challenge. Maybe we can listen to some of other challenges too. What are the top 1 or 2 challenges which, if resolved, can make waste management far better and make waste to value, or take waste to value to the next level, next orbit, scale it much more? Why don't it's an open question, any of you can answer. 1 or 2 key challenges.
Can I take?
Go ahead, Vachana.
So, so the point of view that I'm sharing is also coming from a personal place, right? Like, because I see this happening even amongst my friend circle as well. I think it, like consumers have to become conscious about consumption. I think we all have to look at consumption very, very differently. First, we have to see, as much as possible, can we reduce our consumption, right? I'll give you an example. I recently, we had a birthday celebration for my 4-year-old, and we did it at a place which was a beautiful campsite. I used to trek a lot, so I wanted, my kid also to start experiencing the life outdoors. And so we called a lot of friends, around 40 of us, including children who were there. And it was a zero waste birthday party, right? There were no balloons, there were no disposable glasses, there were no spoons. The only thing that the venue could not arrange was potter plates for cakes and, for this thing. So for that, they gave us the leaf plates, but they promised me that it will immediately be put into the campfire and it will be cleared off immediately, right? So there were no tissue papers either, And when kids came and asked me, Auntie, can I have tissue? I said, please go wash your hands. The water is right here, right? So what happens is that if you are able to educate children, if you are able to educate your friend circle and start at, people may look at you and say, are you serious that you're doing a birthday party without balloons, right? But if you're able to do that, and it was still a very beautiful beautiful get together. Everybody had a great time. Children were not asking for phones or screens or any of those things, right? So if we are able to do that and create that consciousness early on in many, many people, I think we'll be able to resolve a lot of issues. 25% of Akshay Kalpa customers are recycling. Why can't it be 100%? I'm making it so easy for a Akshay Kalpa customer to recycle. I'm taking it from their doorstep. It can't get easier than that, right? Which means that not many people, and it's not like people don't want to do it. They only want a little more convenience to it, right? And when we've added that layer of convenience, maybe it's more work that is required from our end to create more awareness. Because when awareness is there, I think people will start to. One is awareness, two is consciousness. I think when both of these things are there, people will start to make that shift.
Very interesting. Between the two, Vachana, it looks like consciousness is what is required. I think most Akshay Kalpa consumers probably are aware about some of these. It's a very interesting point. The challenge she is pointing out is, look, consciousness. How do we create consciousness so people actually, rather than know, they feel they should do something? Wonderful. Anybody else?
I can take it up more. The pain is more with us right now.
They think that the waste is a resource and they ask us to pay for it. Actually, it should be the other way around. The government should fix a fee, a tipping fee for that. And only when that comes, the challenge of cost of realization from our activity can happen. The government always thinks that this waste is a resource. We had a big discussion on this, and I told the minister himself, sir, if that was a resource, it would not been coming up as a amount. It would have been eradicated long ago. So now that should be budgeted, and this should be given. In Kerala, if you look at it, they are paying around 675 rupees. You can take it and then eliminate it. So that way, a tipping fee should be made, and each one who takes it out to get it cleared, they should be paid a tipping fee. This is basically number one. Now, if you take any CBG plant, around 20% of the waste is a very rich fertilizer. Now, this fertilizer, does it get the real value? No. So these challenges have to be addressed. And once that is done, everything will fall in place, because 20% of a residue from a biogas plant is a big quantity. So that quantity should fetch a real price. Today, we are not even now in our project. What we are doing is we are putting it back into the soil and we are not calculating any price for that. But then that does not make it viable for the plant. So now these challenges how to address. Number two, the biomass that is required for this. We have so much of land banks in India. You go anywhere, you find only the invasive species. The government, High Court has said that this invasive species should be destroyed. But how it has to be destroyed and how it has to be put to a good use. See, it can be briquetted, it can be used along with the coal. So many options are available, but that options are not there. They spend money on destroying the species, but they don't consider it as a resource which has got enough energy to power the entire nation. So how to bring this gap together is a big challenge, which our people have to take it up. But then to bell the cat is very difficult. So the government is ultimately the source from where all these things have to be coordinated. And government should come up with a model project so that they can showcase to the entrepreneurs, yes, this makes sense. See, for the last 1 year, I have been relocated to Valpare for one reason, to calculate all the waste, tea plantation pruning waste and coffee waste into energy or fertilizer. See, big companies, Tata, BBTC, NEPC, all these people, they don't have time to think about it. And nobody has taken up this as a challenge for the future generation. They are dumping it, they are mulching it, they are happy with that. Now, there is a cost associated with this. When I tell them, if you invest in this and then convert it into a valuable product and put it back into your field, this will enrich your soil. That is, they don't want to take it. So how to drum this into their mind? That is a big, big challenge. In spite of my best efforts, I could not get even one company to do it. Even last week, I visited Tata Coffee and told them about this project. The next stage, it doesn't go. It stops after at the discussion levels. Because there is a cost to company to take this waste and make it into a fertilizer or a biochar. Technology is available. And they also accept that this adds value to their soil and produce. But then that investment, then the time to spend on that, nobody is willing to take it to the next level. This is what I have found.
Got it, got it. So I think the challenge, many of these are brilliant, I mean, very well articulated. See, that's the advantage he has. He has been working in this for 30, 35 years. He has spent hands-on work. Broadly, the challenges you point out, Divakar, one come under the government regulations or incentivization. How do we incentivize so that waste gets utilized better? And the second is, as you said, corporate initiatives, while the intentions are there, maybe they should move faster. All right. What about Nagendran, Varadarajan? Do you guys have any specific challenges to highlight? Nagendran, you were saying something.
Yeah, that's correct. Now I'll probably give two perspectives to this. Since you work on waste, environment, energy. So let's talk about the government. There are sufficient rules and regulations from the central government to state governments, and implementation has to mature further. And the one which we see in Chennai itself, people can be penalized if they are dumping in south somewhere, or they are not following the source segregation. The problem is implementation of the rules. We have enough rules, but they have to be implemented, and that has to be taken up well by each of us. So, perspective of government, they are doing some job definitely. Like Divakar sir was saying about tipping fee, yes, definitely there are changes coming up, but it's slow. I agree on that. But the things have been changing right now because of net zero or our commitment. The things are otherwise biomining project would not have been started a few years back, right? So I think there are enough rules which we have to follow. Government is enforcing, but enforcement still not sufficient. That's one perspective. Second perspective, very important. As a citizen, as a responsible citizen, what we are all doing. We are only part of the company. We are all the part of the corporates. Right? So we have to do our job better. Like Vachana saying, education, awareness. Again, more money is spent, more awareness being created. What each individual, each of us doing at our home. We have to look at that self-introspection first. Do we in Chennai we are pushing people to have 2-bin system? Do we do that? Do we have green bin and blue bin? So the question is first, for our own self to ask: are we really following that? Now I will come to different perspective. As a consumer, as a person who generates waste at home, I have a different problem. This is not going to be solved only by consumers. I have a space problem. I have to buy the bins and have them. There's an economy problem. There is also a psychological issues, which every time when I put not only me, my household members, how to put the waste in the buckets, I have to be consciously thinking where to put it. It's not so easy, but unconsciously, this has to come as a practice to each one of us, not even consciously. Of course, we start being conscious, then become unconscious about what we are doing. And that's where two things come into picture, either penalty or incentivization. Both are not working yet because we are not participating. I will not discount that there are some RWs, the Resident Welfare Association in Chennai, they are doing a wonderful job. Like Vachana is saying, individually a lot of people are creating silos of improvements, but they have to be coordinated, they have to be arranged together. All the success stories have to be propagated, more advertised. The government should help on those things. When only both top to bottom up, both approaches will work, we will settle down, create a better environment for all of us. And in fact, in our facility, we encourage college student kids to come and visit us. Even many college students come and do that because when I complete the session with them, I ask the only one vouch. Can you guys go back to your home or in hospital or wherever you're working? Can you ensure push for waste segregation at the source? If we can do that small step, most of the problem, most of the money can be diverted right aspects, which is the most problem right now we are seeing across. Every one of us are existing today because we don't, each one of the responsible citizens not doing their job properly. Right? That's my perspective.
Thank you, Nagendran. So broadly, one is implementation challenges. The intention is there, policies are there, enforcement is not as good as it should be. You also touched upon what Vachana said, self-consciousness, awareness, and finally, individual efforts are there, but how do we consolidate these individual effects into collective community action? Varadarajan?
Yeah, we are in the process of commercialization. We want to take the technology to the industry. So when it comes to that, this application of fermentation is relatively new in a chemical industry. So far the chemical industry has been using this as to treat the wastewater treatment or something, but this becomes the product. So we have to have the marriage of the microbiology concepts to the industry. That is where we need lot more engineers, lot more scientists to work together. That is one challenge, but it's slowly coming. It is not that we can't do it, but we want it fast because we are not in the sector where the product is of a very high value. We are replacing the value, whether it is fuels, whether it is chemicals. We are replacing the product, but when we do that, that means we are competing with the established industry. So for entrepreneurs to put money, it is not going to be that easy because unless otherwise these challenges are addressed upfront. I can't I can't put an investment like Mr. Nagendran said, oh, we are, the challenge is in the operation because the money is put, they are all capital intensive units. So you put a bioreactor of a stainless steel for industry application is expensive. And the product is not, so this is a big challenge. But these challenges are getting addressed. And also the industry should be aware that there are processes which requires their equipments or machineries to cater to a different sector. See, for example, I've been in the oil industry for 40 years. I know it's to get a good compressor. There are hardly few of them in the world, but this has to spread out, and so the availability of the machineries and as Vashna said, the concept, the awareness, which is the important thing. Last but least, all these efforts when you are trying to do commercialization or changing a revolutionary technology, government support is essential, and it is coming, but it is it's only on the very early stage. But real tangible these things have to come. See, for example, this Mr. Divakar talked about the bio-CNG and all those things. It is good that government is putting some effort and trying to do something. But when these things are thought about by government and also in education institutions like the so-called elite schools like IITs, they have to come with a comprehensive programs. For example, what is the point in making bio-CNG and throwing out so much carbon dioxide or greenhouse gases again into this thing? So it has to be very comprehensive solutions. And that is where I think there is everyone has to play the role, and that role has to come from all the sectors. But I think the more specifically the governments, the NITI Aayog and other the central government agencies like the DOEs in the United States, they have to work in tandem with the challenges and come to solutions quickly than to keep on talking about it. See, for example, I'm pleased to hear that Mr. Nagendran has been there for the last 20 years, but still is struggling to get this thing. So these are all the challenges, I think, on the whole for industry. But I like challenges. I see all the challenges as opportunities. So, and it is for the younger generation to come and take these challenges as opportunities.
Thank you, Varadarajan. Wonderful. I think it's good to have such a structured discussion. Firstly, I think I should thank all of you. Vachna had to actually has another meeting, but it was good to have all four of you. I'm delighted to actually listen to your background in a detailed manner. Because even though I've known Varadarajan, Nagendran, Divakar, and Vachna for quite some time, it is very nice to have gotten a detailed presentation about both your background and your company. That will be very useful for many of the people who will be watching these videos as we go along. And I think the challenges were also articulated very succinctly. Each of you articulated a specific challenge. Some challenges were common, but some of them, like the capex that Varadarajan spoke about, that is fairly unique for his kind of a solution, which may not be so critical for others. So it's very nice to have gotten all these inputs. what I'm going to do is we're going to, digest it. We're going to synthesize it. And as I said, we will be having another session probably within the next 2 weeks. We'll get the same guys, possibly even 1 or 2 more guys there. But start with these challenges and see what can be done. All right.
Sir,
Thank
if
you
you
very
look
much,
at
gentlemen.
Kerala, before we close one point, sir, in Kerala, if you look at houses which are closed and not given for rent or use, there is a penalty tax. Similarly, we have been a legislation where lands, if they are not cleared of this invasive species and planted with vegetation which will be useful, that should also be penalized. Then we have enough of cover and also biomass availability. So that should be the first thing that we should focus. That is my suggestion.
Wonderful. I think we have another session only for suggestions and solutions. Maybe we can reopen that with ideas such as this. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you very much for being here. Wonderful talking to you. All this